Hey everyone, my name is PsychoSap and welcome back for the last and final episode of the F122 calendar series as well as the Formula 1 2022 season. So we're here at Abu Dhabi then for the final quali session, and if you guys do remember the first 10 videos where we were in F1 2021, Max Verstappen was leading by I think 2 points, and we are currently lacking behind Max by a couple of points, and due to the lack of pace in Brazil we're actually falling behind a little bit. So today's race is quite important and we have to stay as high as possible in the grid. Now my first lap out and it's just enough for P4, so we're gonna have to improve on that on our second run. Now Abu Dhabi is a unique F1 Grand Prix because it is named after the city rather than the country, and that was one of its first. I think this year we did have the Miami Grand Prix, which was also named after the city, but Abu Dhabi was the first one to do it. So here we are then, our second lap out, and we get a little squirmy there on the exit. We're just trying to push as hard as we can, trying to get a better time. So we're about a couple of tenths up, and we do also have a fastest first sector, so that gives me some hope we might be able to get closer to pole position tomorrow for the race, which is quite crucial, like I said, in order to maintain or be able to fight with Max in the championship on the final race of the season. So the final corner then, we are a couple of tenths up. It's quite a bit of an improvement, and that is just enough for P4 again. So that is just disappointing, and we're just gonna have to deal with it because that is the best that we could do today. I'm not the best in Marina as well. So let's see how it goes tomorrow. Really excited for the race. It is a good track.
Welcome to Abu Dhabi. We're just about to start today's race here at the Marina circuit. It's a track known for its long back straight, which serves as a fantastic opportunity for overtaking, going into the slow speed corners that follow it. The drivers will be racing here at the Marina circuit through 16 corners and a lap distance of around 3.28 miles. There are a few opportunities to pass with long straights and DRS zones in 2 places, so plenty of close racing, then plenty of speed and plenty of drama to be found in the laps ahead. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Perez, George Russell and Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Bottas and Pierre Gasly, Ocon, Zhou, Alex Albon and Vettel, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi, Magnussen and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track.
So Abu Dhabi of course is a night race, but here we're quite clearly starting somewhere in the afternoon or maybe quite closer to the evening, and in real life conditions of course the race would go on until the sun goes down, and we would be having a night race at least from the 50% race distance, but I'm not guessing that's gonna happen in the game. So let's go ahead and enjoy the beauty in the real life race that we're gonna have here tomorrow. So really excited for the race, and let's get going then. Lewis Hamilton of course the most successful driver at Abu Dhabi, but this year maybe not. So let's get started then. 5 lights for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix season finale. Out and away we go. Carlos Sainz gets a aggressive start, and we can see Lando Norris looking for a move down the inside. Fernando Alonso absolutely flying. He started behind both Mercedes and now he's ahead of both of them. But let's see if George Russell has the traction to come back and fight. We've moved up a position into P3, and that's going to be a good move for the rest of the race. So we're gonna have to maintain that position, try and get closer to Max as much as possible, because we need that race win today. We can see George Russell then getting ahead of Fernando Alonso, but just that straight line speed of the Alpine is good enough to keep him ahead. But Lewis Hamilton pulls alongside. We now have a Fernando and dual Mercedes sandwich, and you see who gets ahead. Lewis Hamilton getting ahead for a moment there, but just not enough traction out of the corner. And Alonso on this instance does stay ahead. You can also see Valtteri Bottas making a move on his former teammate Lewis Hamilton and almost getting ahead of George Russell as well, but not on this instant. He gets ahead of Fernando Alonso. As we continue then to watch the duel between the Mercedes and Fernando Alonso, Guan Yu Zhou moving up the quarter quite a bit. He's gained a couple of positions, and Fernando Alonso again reclaims P5 there ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who is now ahead of George Russell. It's lost a few positions. So let's take a look at Guan Yu Zhou. Like I said, moving up a couple of positions. Sebastian Vettel was going for a dive bomb, and he went for a even deeper dive bomb, I'd say, and going down the inside of Sebastian Vettel, but Sebastian does get a better exit. Pierre Gasly also staying ahead of Guan Yu Zhou on that instance. Now we're back on board with Lewis Hamilton, who's getting pushed wide enough by Fernando Alonso. He just doesn't get the traction to maintain and be able to strongly overtake the Alpine. The Alpine just does have an amazing straight line speed. We're constantly seeing the Mercedes car is losing out on the straight line speed there today at Abu Dhabi. Pierre Gasly then finally does lock on to the position ahead of Guan Yu Zhou and Sebastian Vettel. Let's take a look at me in the Red Bull and the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. There was a little bit of contact there, but let's see if Charles Leclerc has the traction to be able to make a move. And we do also have DRS at the moment, the drag reduction system, which is going to give him a straight line speed bonus, and we do try to keep him a little bit off the racing line, and he does work. He does have to bounce over the curb, and that loses traction, and of course he doesn't maintain it now. So he does have a little bit of damage in front wing end plate, and he does have to pit for that. That's going to be a heavy hit for Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton then has dropped back. George Russell, of course, getting ahead of his teammate and Fernando Alonso in this instance. Now, the Alpine has been backing up both Mercedes, which is why Russell and Hamilton have been exchanging positions. And getting ahead of Alonso is something that they really need right now to try and get ahead of the pack. But Alonso is making that really difficult. And George Russell then getting ahead of the Alpine for a moment there, and he's still side by side, and he does finally get ahead of the Alpine. Now next up we do have Lewis Hamilton, who's going to have to try and follow Russell into the lead and get rid of Alonso as quickly as possible, I'd say. So we're pitting for the fresh medium tires. That's hoping that's going to give us a better pace. Now of course in Brazil we had a really bad run on soft tires, but we did have quite a good run here on soft tires, so we're going to expect some pace now that we have the medium tires. And there's our move on the Williams of Nicholas Latifi. Of course, you could say it was a lapped car, so it's quite easy to get ahead of that. Now the rest of the race was pretty smooth sailing all the way from lap 9 to lap 15. I'd say not many mistakes, quite clean racing, except for this one mistake, bouncing over the curbs by me. So we're gonna have to keep an eye out for Charles Leclerc, who's gotten quite a bit more closer on the last and final lap, and we're trying to keep him off the racing line, trying to get him to make a mistake, and we have to brake late into the corner, try and keep Charles Leclerc behind and stop him from dive bombing into the inside. Of course, that is a good place for overtakes, but Charles Leclerc on this instance just not confident enough. So the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, then we come home to third position, a P1 and 3 for Red Bull, and unfortunately not enough points, I'd say, for winning the championship, but we're gonna have to pick up the runners up. Maybe go ahead and try again the next season. So it's quite identical to the real life situation, but of course Max has like 200 more points, so that is totally different. But P1 and P2 for Red Bull in the Constructors Championship, as well as the Drivers Championship. So that's a great win, and we're gonna have more coming soon. So well, thank you guys for watching. We're gonna have some fireworks at the end of the video here for the celebrations. Max as well as Red Bull as a team, we've got the win, so we must celebrate. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. We're gonna of course take a look at the points real quick. So these were the points from the current season, the F1 22 game, and the one we have above is the points from the previous game. So we can see then first place goes to Max Verstappen, 384 points, and we're just behind by a few points. That would have been much better if we didn't lose that pace in Brazil. Anyway, we're gonna have to settle for P2 in the championship. Thank you guys so much for watching throughout the season and all these videos. Hope you guys did enjoy the series. I'll be back for more. Until then, take care and bye bye.